what's up everybody? Tyler here, Elevation Powerlifting. Got my little brother Dax with me to help weigh in on the ultimate knee sleeve review. So, of all the sleeves we own, here's the A7 stiff sleeves and the regular SBD 7mm sleeves. All of you guys are probably pretty familiar with this style of sleeve, just your basic, knee sleeve. There's nothing too special about it. They've been around forever. So I'm not going to spend much time on those. But I kind of have them going in a particular order, and you'll kind of see why in a second. So the first sleeve that I want to bring up is the new SBD Powerlifting knee sleeves. These ones are my girlfriend's, and these are pretty much like a slight upgrade from your regular knee sleeve. Now, I've never tried these before, so I'm gonna let Dax take the reins with this one and kind of explain, how he likes them, because he also owns a pair. So Dax, if you wouldn't mind just talking about how you like them, how do they compare to regular sleeves?
Yeah, so basically, I have a pair of these as well, like Tyler was saying. We actually ordered Brielle a pair, and then SBD sent 2 pairs. So, I really like these knee sleeves, personally. They're not like crazy stiff, but they're definitely an upgrade from the older SBD 7mm sleeves. But yeah, they feel pretty good. I personally am 2 sizes down from what I'm supposed to wear. So I'm supposed to be wearing a large, and I wear a small. And I personally think that they feel amazing. I've never worn a sleeve that wraps around your legs so well. Like when I have them on, there's no creases. They don't crease usually when I squat at all. And they're just nice and smooth and just grasp around the knee really well. But part of that could be because I'm sized down 2 sizes. And with that being, they're honestly pretty easy to get on and off, even while being 2 sizes down. But other than that, if I was to get these, just go on their website and buy them on my own, I personally definitely would size down at least 1 size. I think going true to size on these is just not the move and not what I would do. And I personally would definitely go down at least 1 size. But I think they're pretty good. They're not crazy stiff, but they're definitely not doing anything. They definitely help quite a bit. So yeah, those are the brand new SBD sleeves.
Yeah, and so, from just holding them in my hand compared to the regular SBD sleeves, like Dax said, it's definitely an upgrade. You can tell that they're a little bit more rigid. If you're the type of person that isn't really wanting to commit to some super stiff sleeves, the SBD powerlifting sleeves are probably going to be your best bet, because it is giving you more than what a regular sleeve would, without having to deal with the discomfort that some people complain about with a stiff sleeve. So the next sleeve I want to bring up that Dax and I have both tried is the A7 Rigor Mortis knee sleeve. This is the first pair of stiff sleeves that I ever owned. Dax too. We bought these about this time last year. So we've both owned these for almost a year now. And these are really good sleeves. And they were a really good first pair of stiff sleeves for me to try. They have the more hourglass shape where it comes out around the quad and then it tapers in around your knee joint and then it comes back out for your calf. So a person with bigger calves is probably going to like the way these fit. Now, my only real complaint with these is they're not nearly as stiff as some of the other sleeves that I've tried. This to me is between some of the stiffer sleeves on the market, which I'll get into in a minute, and the new SBD sleeves. These are going to be stiffer than new SBD sleeves, but they're not quite as stiff as some of the other sleeves on the market. My other complaint with these would be that over time, I've had these since April of last year. They've loosened up quite a bit, and they're not quite as stiff as they once were. But with that being said, they're still really good sleeves. I actually tore one of my other pairs of sleeves, and I wore these while I was waiting for the new sleeves to come in, and they do the job just fine. So if you're wanting something that's not super aggressive, but you still want an upgrade from your regular sleeves, this could be a good way to go. Also, if you have big calves, do you have anything you want to add to that with the Rigor Mortis?
No, that's basically it. Tyler pretty much covered it all. Just they do really well with the hourglass shape, like Tyler was saying. Because me personally, I kind of have my calves and quads are a lot bigger than my knee joint itself, and so these do a really good job with having a nice taper. I feel like these sleeves do a pretty good job at holding, like wrapping around your legs pretty well also. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Also, like Tyler said, just when we first got them, I feel like they were super stiff, but over time they definitely kind of fell off a little bit. But yeah, they're definitely still a great sleeve. They're still pretty freaking good. They're like Tyler said, they're a little bit better than the SBDs, but nothing like crazy. So yeah, pretty good sleeve all in all.
Okay, so next on the review is Wheeze's Stiff Sleeve Co. I tried these out for the first time today. These are extremely similar to the Titan TKS knee sleeves. In fact, I've actually heard that they're basically the same sleeve. They come from the same manufacturer. And for the price, after shipping, tax, everything included, I spent $88 on these knee sleeves. I mean, you can't really beat that price. There's not very many stiff sleeves on the market right now that are going for that much money. So with that being said, these are 110% an upgrade from the Rigor Mortis sleeves, from the SBD sleeves. These are some very stiff and rigid and heavy knee sleeves. They kind of have like that Inzer Ergo Pro shape almost, where it kind of contours to the leg here and it comes back. The way that they're stitched is there's one stitch that comes down the back, and then they have two stitches that come off the sides here, which is kind of a unique stitch pattern. Like I said, these are very stiff sleeves, very good sleeves. I just barely hit a PR in these. 381 for 5, never done that before. I was wearing these sleeves, great sleeves. Now, my only complaint with these sleeves would be that the calf opening is pretty dang big. I go true to size on all of my stiff sleeves. I think unless you're doing the SBD powerlifting sleeves, you should pretty much always go true to size. That's kind of the point of stiff sleeves, is they're not really meant to be sized down. And when you do that, you may rip them. So I went true to size on these, and there was quite a bit of gapping on my calf. It didn't really come down on my calf very well, and that could be because I don't have very big calves. But that would be my one complaint with these sleeves, is they don't taper down on my calf very much. And they kind of were sliding down as I was squatting. I never really felt like they slid down enough to where I had to actually like take them off and pull them back up, but they did slide down a little bit, which kind of bugs me. And my other complaint with these would be that when you're hitting the hole in the very bottom, you kind of lose a little bit of that compression. And the same goes for the Rigor Mortis, and that's one issue that I've heard with pretty much all stiff sleeves across the board, is they feel really stiff as you're going down, but then kind of like right when you hit the hole, you kind of lose that stiffness. And so all in all, these are really good sleeves, and for $88, I would definitely recommend buying them. And I think that these are going to be a sleeve that I use often. But with that being said, I want to move on to my last pair of knee sleeves, which is the Helix knee sleeves. And now, the Helix knee sleeves, off the bat, Dax and I both use these. I'm just going to say these, in my opinion, are the best sleeves on the market, hands down. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I could probably agree with that.
So, what I like about the Helix knee sleeves, in terms of stiffness, these Stiffco sleeves, also the Titan TKS knee sleeves, compared to the Helix, stiffness is pretty much the exact same, I would say. The Helix sleeves might be just a tad stiffer than the Wheeze sleeves. But where I think that the Helix sleeves take the cake is they have this spiral stitch pattern similar to the SPD sleeves. You can see it's kind of got that spiral down, and so does this. It comes across, and then it also has another stitch on the back that spirals down. And what this has done, and the issue that they've been trying to combat with this, if you've watched Swolefesser's knee sleeve review, is this cross stitch pattern is designed so that you don't lose that compression in the hole like you do with some of these other stiff sleeves. And so where this one really shines compared to all the other sleeves I've tried is they're extremely stiff. A lot stiffer than I expected them to be. And as I go down, they constrict to my leg. It's truly, like Swolefesser's mentioned in his video, it's like combining a stiff sleeve like this and also combining all the benefits of a stiff sleeve with the benefits of an SPD sleeve, where you're getting the benefits of the stiffness, but it's also constricting to your leg as you go down into the hole. And so if you guys follow me on Instagram, you probably saw on my story, I put a Helix knee sleeve on my left leg and I put one of these sleeves on my right leg and just did a squat with the bar on my back. And stiffness wise, I truly could not tell a difference. But like I've mentioned, where these ones take the cake is when I'm actually in the hole. These ones have lost quite a bit of compression, where these ones only got tighter as I descended into the hole. And so that's why I think that Helix takes the cake, because you are gaining the benefit of having a stiff sleeve while also having the compression and the constriction of some of these older sleeves. One thing that I will say with the Helix sleeves is if you have like really big calves, these might be kind of a tough one because they're that kind of that cone shape where they taper down. It might be pretty tight on your calves. The other thing I will say with these is their size chart, I feel like personally is a little off. I measured for 2XL, and when I got 2XL, they pretty much were just falling off my legs with no restriction at all. And so I thought for sure I would be a size large. I bought a size large and I couldn't even pull those ones off because they were so tight. And so XL ended up being the perfect fit for me. And I know, Dax, you measured for a medium, didn't you? And you ended up getting a small?
I can't remember quite what I measured for. It was either a large or medium, but then what I ended up doing in the end is I went true to size on the Rigor Mortis sleeves, and they fit literally perfect pretty much. So I just compared the Rigor Mortis size chart to the Helix size chart and just went as close as I could. And I wear a large Rigor Mortis, and those sizes for the large Rigor Mortis were almost the same as the small on the Helix. So I just went with a small on the Helix, even though that's not what I measured for. And it was like pretty much perfect. They fit me about perfect.
Yeah, and that's another thing worth mentioning is that every knee sleeve is going to have different sizing. So don't just assume that because you're a size on one sleeve that you won't be a size on the other. For example, the SPD sleeves, just your regular SPD sleeves, I'm a size large. On the A7 Rigor Mortis, I'm a 2XL. On the Wheeze Stiffco sleeves, I'm a 2XL. And on the Helix, I'm an XL. So don't assume that, you know, one size is going to transfer over to the other sleeve. But yeah, like I said, I think these are the best sleeve on the market. Dax, if you have anything to add, go ahead and let them know what you think, man.
Yeah, not that I can think of. I really like these sleeves. The only thing that I would say about them is that they fit really well and they're super stiff. But I've noticed as I get to the end of my workout, when I take them off, they definitely seem like they've lost a little bit of stiffness. They still feel pretty good, but you can tell they're not as stiff as when you put them on in the first place, which can be pretty obvious considering you've been squatting in them, sweating in them, so they're gonna get moistened and stuff. But what I have noticed though that I do like is that even though they do that, when I come back for my next training session, they are just as stiff as they were when I bought them. Like, they feel the exact same from when I bought them, and they still feel the same. It's just when I get done training, they feel like they've loosened up quite a bit. And the only other thing I would say is that on my quad, it's probably just because they don't fit like quite perfect, because obviously not every knee sleeve is going to fit you perfectly. But while I'm squatting, the top of the quad will slide down just a little bit, and it just slightly bunches up right on the sides of my knee, but not to the point where it like bothers me or I feel like it affects anything. So
and that's kind of the thing with these new sleeves is everybody's built different, everybody's sized different, but all in all, you know, my final verdict on all the sleeves that I've tried is by far, hands down, Helix. Like, it's not even close. If I had to give a second place winner, it would definitely be the Stiff Sleeve Co. sleeves, just because I get the same amount of stiffness as them. I just don't get that same amount of constriction. With the Stiff Co. sleeves, I think that they would make a great backup pair of sleeves, because like I mentioned before, I had a ripped pair of sleeves, and that was actually my Helix sleeves. And here's probably another downside to the Helix sleeves that I would bring up, is I only owned my first pair of Helix sleeves for a month before they ripped. I emailed them, I asked them about this, and they told me that it was because I was removing them wrong when I was taking them off. But you know, to me, that just feels like a little bit of a silly thing to have a knee sleeve rip over. But they were great to work with. They sent me a new pair, so it's not the end of the world. And then some of the other sleeves, you know, these are the only sleeves that I've tried. So you can comment and ask me about other sleeves, and I can give you my 2 cents, but these are the only sleeves I've actually worn. What I have heard from other people, one of our friends, Jesus Morales, squats 700 plus pounds. He used to train in the Inzers, and I actually gave him one of my pairs of Helix sleeves that didn't fit me. He came to our house, he squatted 733 in them, and he actually ripped his as well. And he never got his replaced, but what he's told me is that he still prefers his ripped Helix sleeves over his Inzers, because he thinks that even though the Helix sleeves are ripped, they still outperform the Inzer sleeves. So that's also something to keep in mind, is that, you know, these Helix sleeves and the Stiff Sleeve Co. sleeves, they're not a joke. They're pretty dang stiff. You're gonna get more out of these, in my opinion, than you would out of the Rigor Mortises or the Inzers or, you know, the Village Hidden in Iron sleeves. They're all kind of similar. I don't think that those even come close to the TKS, the Stiff Sleeve Co., the Helix. I don't think it's even close. If you can wear a pair of ripped sleeves and they still feel better than your Inzers, I mean, that just goes to show how intense these sleeves really are. But, you know, just to wrap things up, it all comes down to personal preference. If you're looking for something that's very, very stiff, I'm going to recommend the Stiff Sleeve Co. or the Helix. If you want something that's just going to be an upgrade from what you have, that's not too aggressive, the Rigor Mortises or the Inzers might be your best bet. Or if you don't even want a super stiff sleeve at all, but you just want to feel like, you know, you're getting more than just your regular old knee sleeve, I think that the SPD powerlifting sleeves are definitely the way to go. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. This is all just my opinion. It's all going to come down to your personal preference. I think all of these sleeves are really good sleeves. But, you know, I just wanted to make this video to kind of let you know what you're getting into. So, you got anything else? Nope. Okay, well, that's the end of the knee sleeve review. Helix is the number 1. Stiff Sleeve Co. I'd give number 2. And in my own personal experience, my own personal preference, I'd give Rigor Mortis my number 3. How would you rank them based on what you've tried?
If I had to put them all together, I don't really know. I'd probably definitely go Helix number 1. These are just the sleeves that I've worn, but Helix probably number 1. I honestly would probably put the SBD powerlifting sleeves over the Rigor Mortis in my opinion, just because I just think they fit so well and they feel so well when you squat in them. But because the Rigor Mortis are pretty stiff, but they just don't have the same feeling as the SBD powerlifting sleeve does. So I'd probably put the SBD powerlifting second and then the Rigor Mortis. So,
yep. There you have it. As you can see, it comes down to personal preference. That wraps it up. Follow us on Instagram, Dak75kg, Tyler110kg, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
peace out.